Namo Buddhaya. One of our viewers have asked from us a question that how can we live in the present moment without worrying about the future? So this whole video is dedicated for him as well as for all of you who have the same question in your life. First of all, we have to realize that living in the present moment, focusing your mind to the present moment is not a simple thing. It is very hard, but also it is an achievable target. Our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us, Atitang nanvagameya nappati kanke anagata. You should not chase after the past. And also, you should not make too much expectations about the future. Supreme Buddha said, Yadati tang pahinantang apattancha anagata. What is past is left behind. It is gone. It is over now. Apattancha anagatam. The future is yet to come. It hasn't reached yet. Buddha said, Pachupannancha yo dhammang tattha tattha vipassati. What you have to do is live in the present moment and see the present moment as it is. Right? Realize the present moment as it is. So it is very hard to focus your mind to the present moment. Our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us the nature of the mind is it always runs to the past. Normally, our mind has a habit to wander in the past, memories, right? When we are alone, when we are solitude, and when we live in our life alone, lonely, normally it is the nature our mind runs to the past. It lives in the past memories, thinking about them. Sometimes you may regret about them. Sometimes you may be happy about them. Sometimes you may cry about them, right? So that is the nature of our mind. It is always wandering in the past. And also sometimes our mind try to make expectations, too much expectations about the future, right? People dream too much about their future, but they do not work for the dreams to come true. So our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us, you should not let your mind to wander in the past, as well as you should not let your mind to go for the future and make too much expectations about that. What you have to do is you have to work in the present moment to make your future better, as well as to make your past better. Because when you live correctly in the present moment, right, your past will be a good one because you have lived in the correct way. And also, if you are sure that you are living correctly in the right way in the present moment, your future will be also a good one because you are doing the right thing right now. So, you need to have a good practice to focus your mind to the present moment. So it should be practiced by meditation as well as it should be practiced in the practical world, in your life. So I will teach you some tricks or things that you should practice in your life to be in the present moment, right? So when you have a free time, right, dedicate yourself to live in the present moment for a little time. During the day, when you have the free time, allocate your time about 5 minutes to live in the present moment. Sit on a chair. You can close your eyes and just experience that you are in your present. You are not in your past, you are not in your future. Always you are in your present. That is the reality, right? The past has gone, as well as the future hasn't come yet, right? So close your eyes and just try to focus your mind to the present moment. Try to think about what you feel, what you hear, and what you think about. All the things that you experience now will fade away to the past, and it will go into the arena of past, right? So take your time in the day and practice this. The best way to focus your mind to the present moment is the breathing meditation. Breathing meditation is one of the best meditations that you can bring your mind from the arena of past and the future to the present moment. Because the breath, when you're focusing on your breath, right, always the breath arises and it goes down. So this breath prevails in the present. So when you focus your mind to the breath, then your mind is always in the present moment. And also, you have to practice to live in the present moment in your practical life, in your day-to-day life. So how to do that? So it is very beneficial to live in the present when you are in the hard times, when you are going through a problem. Now suppose if a person comes to you and started blaming you. Now when he is blaming, you hear that sound, the words, right? When we think about these words, right? When he is blaming, you hear that, and after that very moment, it has gone to the arena of past. Those words are not prevailing anymore, right? But our mind does not like to think that. Our mind clings to those words, right? Our mind tries to hold on to those words, and what our mind does is it always make a loop-like thing to bring back all those thoughts, all those words again and again to our mind, and that is why we are suffering. That is why we feel hurt, right? If we can realize the reality that all these words that I heard has gone to the past, they are no longer here anymore, they are vanished, then you don't want to suffer for anything, right? Because it has gone to the past. You cannot do anything about that. But our mind is not ready for that, right? Our mind tries to cling to those words, right? So what you have to do, when someone blames you, when you are going through a hard time, realize that all those things are impermanent, and it vanishes very quickly from my life. So I don't want to worry about them, right? So if you are living in the present moment correctly, doing the correct thing, doing the right thing, doing good things, you don't want to worry about the past, as well as you don't want to worry about the future. Of course, you can make the plans for the future, no problem, but do not dream too much about it. Because the more we dream, it is like we are stopping our vehicle and just looking towards the road without driving, right? The more we dream, we feel jealous about the achievers who achieve our goals, right? So it is like you are stopping your vehicle on the road and looking at the vehicles that pass by. You're not driving, right? You can make your plans, you can make your goals, but do not dream too much about it. Just start working for it, right? So the dream becomes a goal when you are working on it only. So if you can live in the present, doing the correct thing, doing what should be done now, you don't want to worry about the past as well as you don't want to worry about the future. So in that way, you will have a life without regret and without worrying about the future and the past, and live your life in the present moment and be happy by your life. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. If I ask a question from you that, can money buy happiness or not? So this is an intimidating question that many people in this society talk about. Some people say that you cannot buy happiness from money. And also some people say the money can buy happiness to you. Well, today from this Inner Guide Q&A program, we are going to find out whether the money can buy happiness or it cannot buy happiness. Let's find out. Money itself is a very powerful thing which prevails in this world. When it is used in a bad way, you will get the suffering out of it. Your whole life will be left in the suffering. And when it is used in the normal way, common way, you can buy the comfort out of that. And also, when you use the money in a correct way, you can buy the happiness to yourself. So, how to deal with this money? Remember, people use money for so many evil things. Remember, the final result of all those evil things is the suffering. That is well known. And also, people use the money in the common way. That means to buy the things that they want, the pleasurable things. Right? When they buy the pleasurable things like luxurious cars, vehicles, like clothes, and luxurious apartments, they may think that this is the happiness. No, that is not the happiness. That is the pleasure and the comfort. Remember, there is a distinct difference between the happiness and the comfort. The comfort is something impermanent. Right? Once you eat a delicious food, after that it is gone. It is impermanent. Right? Once you are riding on a luxurious car, after the faults may come out of that car, that pleasure is gone. It is impermanent. Right? So all the pleasurable things, all the materialistic things that we find in this world gives us the pleasure, but remember, they are impermanent. When they are being impermanent, what will happen at the end of that pleasurable thing? You will find the suffering. Right? Your mind is not content with that. You are not being happy by seeing that impermanence. So, what is the final result of the pleasure? It is the suffering. And also there's a way that we can use money to have the happiness to our life. So how to do that? Now when we take, if you buy something with your money and if you give that special thing to someone who need that. So suppose that you bought some foods from the market and you gave that food to a person who is suffering from hunger. You bought some ornaments or some goods from the market and you gave to the needy people. What is the feeling that you have inside yourself? You feel happy, right? That means that happiness will last long forever. And also, by that act of kindness, with that act of generosity, you will gain many merits to your life. Right? that sweet memory, that happiness will leave you a sweet memory, happy time in your life. At the end of your life, when you reflect the journey of your life, if you find so many instances that you use this money in this correct way, to be generous, to be kind to people, to help people, that will give you the happiness. So when money is used in the correct way, you can also have the happiness. But remember, don't misunderstand between the pleasure and the happiness. All the materialistic things, all the comfortable things that we use in our life gives us pleasure, and that is not happiness, because they are impermanent. When they are being impermanent, when they become changed, we suffer. But if you use your money to be generous, right? If you use your money to do good things in this world, to help people, to motivate people, to inspire people, right? To lift up people when they have fallen down, that will give you the best happy moments in your life. So don't misunderstand that money cannot buy happiness or money can buy happiness. It can buy a happiness, but if you use that money in a correct way only. So use your money in a correct way and find the happiness in your life. Namo Buddhaya, Therwan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. In life, when we are dealing with people, sometimes we get into arguments with them. Sometimes people may accuse us for so many mistakes, maybe the mistakes that have been done by ourselves, and also for the mistakes that has done by others also. So when we are in an argument, sometimes we may face those arguments in an unsuccessful way. If you face an argument in an unsuccessful way, you may hurt yourself as well as you may hurt the people who are complaining you. So today we are going to find out how to face an argument and how to deal with an argument when you're being accused. So today I need to share 2 useful tips that you need to practice in your life to win an argument without hurting others as well as without hurting yourself. This great advice was given by our great Arahant Sariputta. He was the chief disciple of our great teacher Supreme Buddha. So he was the great person who gave us this great advice. Our great Arahant Sariputta says, if you have been accused by someone, if you are in an argument, you need to practice these 2 tips. Number 1, first of all, you got to be cool. You need to stay cool always. It means you should not be angry. Because whenever your mind is covered or controlled by anger, Supreme Buddha taught us, if you speak out of that anger, your words are evil. So the evil words may hurt yourself as well as to the others. And if you act out of anger, those actions will be also evil. So those actions will cause damage for others as well as for you. So first thing that you have to do when you have been accused is to be cool, to be patient, right? Don't be panicked. Don't act out of anger. You need to control your emotions. If you can control your anger, you are a great person. Because many people in this world, they cannot control their anger. They just let the anger to pass out of them. They act in anger, they speak out of anger. Don't let that happen to yourself. Because anger is not something that you should be happy with yourself. Anger is a failure. Anger is a fault. And also remember, the people who are being angry always are weak. So you should control your emotions and you should stay cool whenever you are being accused. That is the first thing that you should do. And the second tip is you should always speak the truth. Now, normally when we get into a trouble, when we are in an argument, when we are being accused by someone, normally people tend to speak lies, right? Because they like to escape from that problem by telling a lie. Remember, never ever lie in an argument. If something that has happened, if a mistake has happened by yourself, you need to say that I have done this. I admit this and I admit my fault and I will correct it. So you need to stay in the truth always, right? Never ever lie. Because sometimes if we lie in an argument, if we lie when we are being accused, we have to say 10 more lies to cover that, to protect that lie, to save that lie. If you tell the truth, right, you don't need to remember anything anymore, right? So if you speak the truth, you don't want to remember anything. Just you say the truth and let the things happen to yourself after telling the truth. Let it happen. Because bitter truth is better than sweet lies. So what you have to do, always speak the truth. Don't ever lie, right? So it will make a depression inside you, right? You need to remember everything that you said in that argument. So you need to speak this truth always. So these are the 2 tips to win an argument. Because if you speak truth, remember, the person who is accusing you may blame you, or you will get into a trouble in your life. But remember, after that argument, after that accusation, you will win the trust of that person. Because he may start to think, this person had the opportunity to tell a lie and escape from that problem, but he did not do that. And he will get that idea that you are a person that who always speak the truth. So it is better to have the trust of the people around you. So what you have to do? You have to speak the truth. As well as if you stay cool, people will like you very much, because no one likes to be with an angry person. No one likes to associate an aggressive person. Always people like to associate people who are very cool, people who are not getting angry very much. So what you have to do in your life, practice these 2 tips to win an argument. If you practice and if you master these 2 tips in your life, I am very sure that you can win many arguments, you can win many problems in your life when you are dealing with people, as well as you will win the trust of the people around you. Namo Buddhaya, Therwan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide program. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 great advices that our great teacher Supreme Buddha gave us in order to have a peaceful life forever. And also, if we follow these 3 instructions, Supreme Buddha told that you will have your rebirth in heaven. So what are these 3 instructions? Number 1, Supreme Buddha said, always speak the truth. If someone speaks the truth in his life, Supreme Buddha said, he can live a peaceful life. Now, telling lies is an easy thing to do. It's very easy. When you are in a problem, when you are in a difficult situation, you can tell a lie and just escape from that problem. But remember, you are not escaping from that bad karma, bad action. You cannot escape from those results of those bad actions. So telling lies is a thing that we should not do in our life. Whatever difficult situation comes up in our lives, whatever disadvantage that you get from telling the truth, you have to say that, because bitter truth is better than sweet lies. So our great teacher Supreme Buddha advised us to always speak the truth. That is the first advice. If we follow that advice, we will have our rebirth in heaven and we can live our life happily. Number 2, Supreme Buddha said, do not get angry. It is easy to get angry with someone. Our great teacher Supreme Buddha said, Sukarani asadhuni attano ahitanicha. It is very easy to do evil things which brings the unhappiness and suffering to us as well as to the others. So our great teacher Supreme Buddha said, you should always do what is good. Remember, doing good things is very hard. Being patient and not getting anger into your mind is very hard. We have to admit that. Though it is very hard, remember, if we did not do it, one day we will have to suffer because of our evil deeds. So maintain your inner peace by being not angry with anyone. Now, in this situation, you may not be angry with anyone. But when a problem comes up in your life, it is very hard to maintain your patience. It is very hard to maintain your kindness. It is very hard to maintain your compassion. So our great teacher Supreme Buddha advised us to practice love and kindness and do not be angry with anyone. If you maintain a peaceful mind without the anger, then you can be happy with your life. And also, Supreme Buddha advised us, and Supreme Buddha told us that the person who is not getting angry with anyone, the person who spreads his loving kindness to everyone, will reborn in heaven. So if you need a good rebirth, what you have to do not be angry. Number 3, the final advice. Supreme Buddha said, you have to give even if you have little. Now, if you have $1,000 and if you were to spend $1, it is very easy. But what will happen if you have $1 with you and you were to spend that dollar for someone? You were to donate that dollar for someone. Can you do that? It is very hard. But if someone becomes generous, even if he has little with him, Supreme Buddha said, that is the most worthiest gift. That is the maximum of being generous. That is the maximum point of generosity. That means to give even when we have little with us. Because if we were to give when we have a little, we are struggling with our ego in our mind. We are struggling with our craving in our mind. Because people do like very much for money and the things they are around us. They don't like to give them. They feel very hard to be generous. But if a person can live, if you can live with generosity, If you can give and donate and give alms to people, even when you have little, then you are being generous, and you practice the generosity which brings the happiness to your life forever. And also, Supreme Buddha said, the generous person can have his rebirth in heaven. So our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, advised us, you should practice these 3 tips or 3 instructions that was given by our great teacher, Supreme Buddha. If you practice these 3 advices, you will have a wonderful and peaceful life in this life as well as in the other. So practice this, and may you have a wonderful and peaceful life in this world. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvang Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. One day, a young lady called Kisa Gautami came running to the Buddha, carrying the dead body of her only child. Her child has passed away, and she refused to admit that her child has been dead. All she thought was that this child is not talking and smiling and giggling is because of a disease. He had fallen ill. So she went around the city calling for a doctor to cure the disease of this innocent child. But as there is no one, no doctor who can bring a dead to the life, finally, a wise man said to her, "Oh, young lady, I know about a doctor who can cure the disease of your child. He resides in that monastery. His name is Gautama the Buddha. Go and meet him, and he will give you a solution for this problem." Then Kisa Gautami came running to the Buddha, and here she lies in front of the Buddha, sobbing and begging to the Buddha to bring the baby back to life. Then our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, out of compassion, he looked into Kisa Gautami and said, "Gautami, I can cure the disease of your child. But before that, to make a medicine for him, I need a handful of mustard seed. Can you bring that?" Kisa Gautami's face was lit up with happiness, and she said, "Oh, Master Gautama, I will bring a handful of mustard seed from anywhere with no time." Then our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, said, "Gautami, not so fast. First of all, you need to remember you should bring a handful of mustard seed from a family where no one have ever died." Then Gautami said, "Okay, Master Gautama, I will bring that." So she went running, carrying the dead body of her own child to the nearest house in the monastery. There was an old lady in that house. Then she asked from that old lady, "Oh, madam, can I have a handful of mustard seed from you? I need to cure the disease of this child. I need it as a medicine." Then the old lady said, "Okay, young lady, I will give you a handful of mustard seed." Then the Gautami asked, "By the way, has anyone have ever died in your family?" Then the old lady said, "Oh, young lady, I am sorry to say, 2 days ago my husband died." Then Kisa Gautami said, "Okay, then there is no use of your mustard seed. I need a handful of mustard seed from a family where no one have ever died. Then she went to the next house and to the next house. She went all around the city, finding a handful of mustard seed from a family where no one have died. But finally, she could not find it. In each and every family, someone have been dead. Finally, she realized that she is not alone in this world. She realized that death is a common fate for all the people. All the people have suffered this common phenomena. Then finally she realized that her child is dead and she cannot bring her back to life. Then what she did was, she went to the jungle and she buried her beloved son in the soil, and she came back to the monastery to meet our great teacher, Supreme Buddha. Finally she said, "Oh, Venerable Sir, I knew my child was dead, but I was awakened from that sorrow." Dear devotees and my dear children, when someone dies, when the near and dear one fade away from our life, disappear from our life, it is one of the greatest, hardest experiences that we are going through in all of our lives. Sometimes it may be traumatic to many people. Sometimes they may cry over years and years because of loss of loved ones. So, Supreme Buddha said, this wasn't happen only for you. Remember, one day, everyone will die. That is the common fate for all of us. In 100 years of time, all of us are not in this world. We all have to say goodbye to this world. Remember, all the relationships, all the near and dear and loved ones around you will fade away one day from your life. Or you have to fade away from their life. That is the rule of this world. Supreme Buddha said, always remember that you have to be separated from the people who are around you, the people who love you most. Realizing this bitter truth, the common truth for all of us, will give us the motivation and will give us the inspiration to love the people around us more. Because you know that you have a little time. Because you know you have a little time to love people around you, care the people around you, look after the people around you, give your love and kindness to them. You will have a little time for that. So when you realize that, you can love them perfectly. And also, when they fade away from your life, you can see this reality, and of course you will go through some sort of grief in your life because of loss of the loved one. But remember, you will have the strength to overcome that grief by the time. It will not be traumatic to you, because you know this was bound to happen one day. Remember, sun arises from the east, and at the end of the day, it sets from the west. No one can stop that. That is the reality of this world. That is the nature of this world. Sun arises, and at the end of the day, it will set. No one is grieving for that. Same goes with our life. We arise to this world from our birth, and we set out from this world from our death. So death is common phenomena. So what you have to do, when a near and dear and loved one fade away from your life, realize this was bound to happen. This was a thing that should be that must be happen. You have to stop grieving. And after a death of loved one, you should do more good things, more merits and wholesome thing in order to make that dead person, the beloved person, to be happy. If that person sees you that you are sobbing because of him, because of the loss of him, he will not be happy. He or she will not be happy. So what you have to do good things after that, right? Do wholesome things, remembering him, and that will make him happy. So what you have to do, you can cry, it is not a problem, but do not let it go for a long time. Recover yourself from that grief and start living your life in a good way, in a wholesome way. In that way, you will have the ability to overcome the grief of your life. Namo Buddhaya, Theruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. Dear meritorious devotees and my dear children, welcome to Inner Guide program. Today, from this episode, I'm going to share with you an important quality that we all should develop within ourselves to achieve the successfulness and to achieve the goals in our life. So that special quality is known as the consistency. What do you mean by consistency? Consistency means doing something, a special work, special actions, without stopping for a long period of time. So that is what you call consistency. To achieve big goals, to achieve your dreams in your life, you need to have this special quality of consistency. If you are a student, you need to study consistently. If you are an entrepreneur, you have to take decisions and you have to try hard to develop your business consistently. If you are a person who is practicing spirituality, you need to practice that consistently. So, consistent, doing something again and again without stopping, without giving up, will make our careers into perfection, right? It doesn't matter how talented you are, it doesn't matter how bright you are, all you need to do is to practice this consistency. So I'm going to teach you today 2 tips that you can develop and you can practice to bring this consistency to your work. Because if we did not practice the continuity of our work, we may do our work for sometimes a short period of time, and we may give up. So consistency is the key for success. Here are the 2 tips that we can practice to bring the consistency to our work. Number 1, you must have low expectations when you are doing your work. You have to expect very low progress in the beginning. Now, why do I say like that? Now, most of the time, when we take meditators, the people who are meditating, sometimes they sit for the meditation expecting that their mind to be tranquilized and calm and peaceful all at once. But that will not happen although we liked for that, although we looked for that. So if we make more and high expectations, the problem is that you are expecting the results. You are expecting instant results. Now, in the life's problems, in the life's goals, you cannot expect and you can gain the results instantly. All the achievements, all the successful and good achievements in this world and in this life are slow. It should be done step by step. It takes time. It's meandering. So it is very slow. So what do you have to do? You have to expect a little progress in one session of practice, right? So now people may think that people may say to you that you need to have big expectations and you have to do a lot, right? But by doing a lot at one time makes you tired. Then that is why people are giving all at once. Right? In the first day of meditation, they meditate for about 3 hours and they get tired of that and they give up. So what you have to do is you have to expect very little progress. Slow progress is better than no progress, right? So you have to keep your expectations low. If you make high expectations, you will suffer because you become obsessed with the results. Sometimes the results may not come to us as we want it to be, right? So what we have to do, we have to keep our expectations low. We have to expect a very low progress from one practice, right? If you are studying, if you studied for 1 hour, don't think that you have done it for the perfection. Now you are knowledgeable. No. It will make you a small progress, but it is very small. So you have to be happy with that small progress in your life, right? So then, when you are not making high expectations, you will not become frustrated about your results because you are expecting a low result. Then, if you are doing this again and again consistently, that will increase your progress, right? That will increase your results. So if you meditate for 20 minutes a day, right? If you keep on doing this daily as a daily practice, then one day you will have the ability to gain a peaceful and calm mind. But if you practice 3 hours all at once, then after that, if you give up, you will make no progress in that meditation. So what you have to do, you have to practice this consistency. To practice this consistency, you have to expect little progress from one session and keep on doing it, right? It's like this. Now, a tiny drop of water, when a tiny drop of water falls on a rock, it doesn't make any change on that rock. But what if those tiny drops of water falls again and again and again, continuously, consistently to that rock? What will be happen? With the time, it will make a huge hole in that rock. So that tiny drop of water could not make any difference, any change on that rock in the beginning. But if it was keep falling onto that rock again and again and again consistently, that will make the change. So in the beginning, right, when you are beginning your careers, right, when you are starting to meditate, when you are starting to study, in the first year, in the first month, or maybe in the first day, that will never make any change. But remember, you are on that path of progression, right? You are doing it consistently, and I'm very sure one day you can achieve the goal that you always wanted to be. So what you have to do, you have to keep your expectations very low, right? But you have to keep doing it consistently. Then one day you will have the ability or the opportunity to gain the achievements and successful achievements in your life. That is the first tip. Here's the second tip that you need to have to practice the consistency. You have to be patient. That is one of the greatest qualities that we can have to our life, the patience. If you have the patience, you can wait until the problems are switched off in your life, right? You will not be backed down from the problems. You will not fall down from the problems. You can wait until they are fade away from your life, right? There may be dark days. There may be days that you feel like you are giving up, right? There may be days that you feel tired. But if you have the patience, you will never give up in your careers. So what you have to do, you have to have the patience. You have to wait, right? So little by little, if you are going to that goal, if you are walking to that goal, then one day, right, it may be not today, it may be not tomorrow, maybe not in next month, but one day, make sure one day you are going to achieve all the goals that you have in your life. So if you need to practice consistency, you have to have these two qualities. Number one, it is to have the low expectations. Be not frustrated about the results that you are having currently. If you are keeping on doing this as a daily basis, that will make you success in the long run. So what you have to do, you have to make your expectations low and you have to be patient. If you practice these qualities, you can bring the consistency to your work. Then one day you will achieve all the goals that you dreamt about in your life, and you can be happy one day. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvon Saranai. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvon Saranai. Dear meritorious devotees and my dear children, today from this Inner Guide Q&A program, we are going to discuss about a major defilement that we all have in our life. We are going to discuss that how to deal with this defilement, how we stop this defilement, how we remove this defilement from our life. This defilement is the jealousy. So jealousy is one of the major problems that we face in our life when we are dealing with people, when we see successful people in our life. So when we see people are living happy, when we see the successful people, sometimes we feel jealousy about them, right? So what is the major cause for this jealousy? So the major cause of jealousy is the selfishness. So what do you mean by selfishness? Selfishness means living our life only for ourselves, thinking only about ourselves. That is what you call selfishness. So in this society, we live in a society where most of the people live only for their lives. They always ask, what can others do for me? What can government do for me? We always try to ask, but we hardly give to others. So the more we practice selfishness, the more we think selfish thoughts, we become more and more selfish in this world. When we become more selfish, we feel jealousy about others. When we see people are living happy lives, when we see people are living successful life, we become jealousy. We hate them. We become angry about them. So this is a major problem that we all face in our lives. So how to deal with this? How to stop this? Well, our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught us a wonderful way to stop and eliminate this jealousiness from our mind. And that special technique is known as mudita. What do you mean by mudita? Mudita means being happy by seeing others' success. That is called the appreciative joyfulness. If you can be happy by seeing others' success, if you can smile when others are living happy lives, by seeing their happy lives, then you are practicing this special quality of appreciative joyfulness. Remember, by being jealousy, by practicing the jealousy on someone, we cannot gain anything good for our life. There's nothing good, there's no good that we can gain to our life by merely being jealousy on someone. Right? Sometimes we may think that by being jealousy, we become successful. No. Day by day, we will deteriorate our special good qualities if we are practicing jealousiness. So what we have to do? We have to practice appreciative joyfulness. When you see successful people in this world, you have to be happy by seeing them. You can wish the good and well-being of them from your mind, from the deepest place from your heart. Right? You have to be honest to yourself, and you can wish others good and well-being. The more you practice this mudita, or the appreciative joyfulness, little by little, the jealousiness will fade away from your mind. And there will be a one day that when you see successful people, when the people are living happy lives, when you see them, you will feel happy about them. Though you are living a hard time, though you are going through a hard time in your life, you can be happy by seeing others' happy lives. Then you can generate the thoughts of mudita. Then you can live happily, and then you can live freely in this society. Because when we feel jealousy, we feel uncomfortable, right? We feel irritated and frustrated. So don't make yourself frustrated. So what you have to do? Always practice this mudita. Start your day by practicing mudita. When you get up in the morning, you can wish for all the people that may all people be developed with happiness, comfortabilities, and joyfulness in their life. When you practice and when you generate these thoughts, your mind will be calm, your mind will be happy, and your mind will be free. So that is why our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught us that we should practice mudita to eliminate the jealousiness from our mind. Mudita is the antidote for the jealousiness. So when you are living your life, practice the mudita, the appreciative joyfulness. If you practice this, you can live a happy and free life. Namo Buddhaya, Teruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. Dear meritorious devotees and my dear children, life is so beautiful when it is filled with good qualities. Normally, our mind tends to do the bad things and evil things. That is the nature of your mind. But if we practiced our mind to turn all those evil thoughts to good thoughts or wholesome thoughts, then our life will be wonderful. So the more you practice good qualities like compassion, love, kindness, and unselfishness, so all those good qualities makes your life a beautiful and wonderful one. So always we have to focus on the wholesome side of our mind. Yes, we are a mixture of good and bad. There is no single person in this world who is with 100% good qualities. And there is no a single person who is living in this world with 100% bad qualities. We are a mixture of good as well as the bad. So what we have to do to make our lives a better one is to focus on the wholesome side of our mind and practice and develop that part of your mind. The more you develop the wholesome part and the wholesome side of your mind, the less the evil thoughts may appear in the life. So that is based on the practice. Whatever you practice in your mind and in your life, in your day, and that particular thing will be the repetition of the whole life. That means if you practice the evil thoughts again and again and again, what will happen? Always your mind will be in the evil side. But if you practice good qualities again and again, always your mind tends to think, do, and work in the wholesome side of your mind. So that is why it is very important to develop the good qualities, good human qualities in the life. So, one of the basic and the foremost human wholesome quality is compassion. Compassion we called in Pali language karuna. Karuna means our great teacher Supreme Buddha explained this word. Paradukkhe hadayang kampetiti karuna. Feeling the sadness when others are going through a sad time in their life, if you feel sad, then that is what you call the compassion. And it simply means being sad and feeling the sadness when others are feeling sad, and being happy when others are being happy. That is what you call compassion. So if you have a compassionate heart, then you will feel the sadness of others. The more we develop the compassion in our mind, we can understand the situation of other people. Now, normally in this world, it is very rare to a person to understand others' situation. It is very hard to be in others' shoes. So always when we develop the compassion within our mind, then we will have the opportunity to understand the suffering, sadness, the critical situations of others. Then if you develop the compassion, then you will have the opportunity to help them. You will tend to help others. You will tend to sacrifice a part of your life on behalf of others. Life is not living only for yourself. A happy and wonderful life is something that we should live for others also. The most and the greatest compassionate person who ever lived in this world is our great teacher, Supreme Buddha. He sacrificed his whole life to find the reality and the truth of this birth and death. And he tried very hard to escape from this suffering. And he sacrificed his life to escape all these beings from this suffering. So our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, is the best and the foremost model of compassion that we can find in this world. He sacrificed his whole life on behalf of us. So being unselfish and sacrificing our life for others, helping others, being compassionate is a good quality that you can develop in your life. If you be compassionate and if you help others, if you treat others with your kind words, kind actions, and kind intentions, then those broken hearts will be healed. If you use the compassionate words, those words can heal the broken hearts of people. So that is one of the biggest happiness that we can have in our life. That is called the mental pleasure. The pleasure of helping others. The pleasure that we gain by being compassionate. So after we grown old and when we are facing the death and when we are living on our deathbed, we can recall our past and the way we lived, and we can be happy with that. Always remember, it is not matter how long you live. Always it matters how you lived. So, when you are living your life, try to practice these good qualities, good human qualities. Try to be a good human, a compassionate, a kind and lovable human. Then only you will have the opportunity to find the real peace and happiness in your life. So I wish you all, may all of you find the ultimate happiness in your life. Namo Buddhaya, Teruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. So many people in this society may think that in order to live a happy life, always we should gather the things to ourselves. We should surround ourselves with comfortable things. And they may think that we should not give anything to anyone. Giving is a waste. That is how people think. And also people ask why we should give the things to others. Because others can also earn what they want. So why we should give? Well, today from this Inner Guide Q&A program, we are going to find why we should give and also what are the benefits of giving. So first of all, let's talk about why we should give. right? So giving is an act of kindness, right? Being generous is an act of kindness, right? If you have a kind heart, if you have a compassionate heart, you will tend to give more to people, right? Do you know the meaning of the compassion? Compassion means the feeling of sympathy or feeling of sad when someone is going through a hardship, right? If you have that compassionate heart, you will try to give more to this world, because world needs the humans' help. Humans need humans' help. So that is why Supreme Buddha taught us that you should give. Because if you give, when you are giving something to someone, now suppose you are giving food to a person who is very hungry, suffering with hunger, right? If you give that food to that person, he will feel comfortable, right? He will overcome his hunger and he will be happy maybe for a one day. But when you give that food to that person, you will feel happy, right? You will feel a mental happiness within yourself. That happiness will last long until the end of your life. Whenever you remember that act of kindness that has done by yourself, you will feel very happy about yourself. You can be proud about yourself. That happiness cannot be bought for money. Remember. And also, giving is an act that the people with stronger mindsets, stronger personalities always do. The people who are with low qualities, bad qualities will not give, right? They are not generous. They are a bit stingy in their life, right? They always think, if I need to be happy, I need to gather the things. I need to surround myself with pleasurable things. I should not give. Giving is a waste. That is how they think. That is why we need to practice the generosity. If you need a happiness that lasts long forever, start giving. See the joy of giving. It is very joyful and it is very enjoyable. So it is how amazing that when you see a person who is overcoming his hunger, having the food that is given by you, and when he is smiling, you feel that mental happiness, right? That is one of the greatest happy moments that we'll have in your life. So that is why you need to give always. Be a generous person. Okay, then let's talk about that what are the benefits of giving. Supreme Buddha taught us there are 5 benefits of a generous person. There are 5 benefits that can be found to a generous person. Number 1, Supreme Buddha said, he will be agreeable and he will be a nice and pleasurable person to many people. Right? When you give something to someone, they will be happy. Right? If you are a donor, if you are a generous person, always when people see yourself, they become happy. They may think, oh, this person is very generous. He's a nice person. He's a kind person. So he will be agreeable to many people. That is the first benefit. Number 2, Supreme Buddha said, good people will surround him. He will get into the association of good people. Now, if you have that quality, the generosity within you, it is the nature of this world that same things, the people will with same qualities get together. Right? If you have the generosity, the people who are with the same mindset will surround you. It goes with another way. If you have the stinginess or if you have the evil thoughts within you, the people who are with evil thoughts will surround you. Evil friends will surround you. So if you are generous, always, noble people, good people, the people with good generosity will surround you. You will get into association with good people. That is the second benefit. Third one, Supreme Buddha said he will acquire a good reputation in this world. Remember, people are not talking about your wealth. People doesn't talk about your wealth. Only people talk about how generous you were, how kind you are. That is what they talk about. So what you have to do, you need to give. You need to be generous. If you are being generous, you will acquire a good reputation in your life. The fourth benefit is, Supreme Buddha said, his life will be virtuous. You will acquire a good personality which is fault-free and which is free from the defilements, which is free from the evil things in your life. Because you are generating more compassionate thoughts towards others. You are generating more generous thoughts to others. So the more you generate these wholesome thoughts, the more you will have a good personality within you. So if you need to become a good person, if you need to become a virtuous person, if you need to have a confident personality, what you have to do? Be generous. Number 5, the final quality. Supreme Buddha said, by being generous, one acquires lots of merits. And as the result of those merits, Supreme Buddha said, he will have a good rebirth. Most of the people are not having a good rebirth in this world. So if you need to have a good rebirth, what you have to do is be generous, give to others. Giving is something that gives you the happiness. Gathering and holding on to the pleasurable things is something that makes you suffer. So start giving and see the joy of the giving and find the ultimate happiness in your life. Namo Buddhaya, Theruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. Dear meritorious devotees and my dear children, when we come to this human world, we had to live with this human population. And also, we have to deal with these humans. So when we are dealing and when we are living with these humans, we will see so many good qualities and as well as bad qualities of humans. So when we take the people around us, when we take the people around who are living with us, we can find so many good qualities and bad qualities. But the problem with us is we are programmed and we have practiced to see always the faults of people, the dark side of people, the evil qualities of people. The more we see the dark and the bad qualities of people, we will get angry. Sometimes we may hold on to resentment. Sometimes we may become jealous. So these evil thoughts may come into our mind when we deal with humans and when we see the dark and the evil qualities of humans. Our great teacher Supreme Buddha advised us that you should always focus on the good of the people. You should train your mind to see the bright side of the people. So, our great teacher Supreme Buddha described there are 5 types of people in this world. The first type of people is the people who do good, but they speak evil words. Now, in the society, we may find such people. They do so many good things with their body. They may not kill animals. They may save the lives of animals. And they do so many things, so many good things with their body. But their words are bad. What they speak is very bad. So we may find such people. Supreme Buddha advised us that you should always focus on that good quality. You can focus on that good physical actions and you can control the anger upon them. That is the first type of people. Here comes the second type. Supreme Buddha said, there are people who do evil things, but they speak good words. They may kill animals, they may commit sexual misconduct, they may steal the people's possessions, but they speak good words. They may never tell a lie. They may never say any angry words from their mouth. So what you have to do is, you can focus on that good verbal action, good words, and you can control the anger. When you are contemplating on the bright side of people, you will always be kind to them and you will never be angry with them. So that is the second type. Here comes the third type of people. There are people who do evil things as well as who speak evil things. But eventually, by time to time, they may do some meritorious things. You can find such people. Sometimes, very rarely, they may go to temples and they observe precepts and they do some offerings and they do some good things. But it is very rare. Supreme Buddha advised that you should focus on that good quality. You can control your anger by contemplating on that person's good quality. What is that? Oh, they are doing some good deeds, meritorious things, eventually. Then you can control that anger. That is the third type of people. Here comes the fourth type of people. There are people who never do good things from their body as well as from their words, and they never do any good deed in their life. It is very hard to find a good quality of that person. Supreme Buddha advised us, if you meet such a person, what you have to do is, you have to focus your mind for the compassion. You can be compassionate to them and you can feel pity about them. You can think, oh, this poor person, poor thing, he is committing evil things. Eventually, he will get the result of this karma. He will find the consequences of these evil deeds. Then you can feel compassionate about them. But never, ever be angry with them. That is what our great teacher Supreme Buddha advised. It is the fourth type. And here comes the fifth type. Supreme Buddha said, you will find people who do good as well as they speak good and they are very meritorious. We will find people who are filled with good qualities. Then what you have to do? You have to focus on these good qualities which are abundant and clearly seen in them. When you see such people, when you deal with such people, it is very easy to contemplate on the good qualities of people. Dear devotees and my dear children, always remember, never find a fault of a person. Never judge a person because we don't know what is the real story of their life. Sometimes they may act in anger, they may act in the way that we don't like, but sometimes they may have a bad day. Sometimes all of their days are bad. So what we have to do? We have to focus on a good quality of that person. When we focus on a good quality, we will never get angry. We will never get upset with the person. And it is very easy to deal with humans when we are contemplating on the bright side of people. So, when you are living in this society, don't judge people. Don't find the faults of people. Always focus on the bright side of the people. And when it takes to your personal life, You have to focus on your bright side. Sometimes we may have faults, we may have bad qualities. The problem with us is when we see such bad qualities within ourselves, we become sad. We become depressed. We become mentally down because we think, oh, I will never get rid of these bad qualities any day. No, you can do that. You can escape from these bad qualities and you can develop good habits, good qualities. So what you have to do is you have to think and you have to focus on your bright side. You may have good qualities. Now all of us have good qualities. So what you have to do, you have to focus on those good qualities. The more you focus on the bright side of your life as well as in the others, you will be happy. You can live freely, and also you will get the opportunity to develop wholesome qualities in your mind. So I wish you all, by contemplating on the bright side of the people and as well as you, may you have a happy and wonderful life in this world. Namo Buddhaya, Teruvan Saranai.